Hello, my friends. Welcome back to English Unleashed. I'm Tom. Today, I want to talk about something that many English learners worry about: speaking fast. A lot of learners think that good English means fast English. They hear native speakers talking quickly and they think, I need to speak like that. So when they practice, they try to speak faster. They push themselves. They hurry. They try to say every sentence as quickly as possible. But very often, something happens. Their pronunciation becomes less clear. They forget words. They make more mistakes. They feel nervous. And the person listening to them has more difficulty understanding. So today I want to give you a very simple message. Speaking fast is not the goal. Speaking clearly is much more important. If people can understand you easily, your English is working. That is communication. And communication is the real goal. Let's begin with an important question. Why do so many learners want to speak fast? One reason is that fast speech can sound impressive. When you hear somebody speaking quickly, it can sound confident. It can sound natural. So learners sometimes connect speed with fluency. They think, if I speak fast, I will sound fluent. But speed and fluency are not exactly the same thing. You can speak quickly and still be difficult to understand. You can also speak a little more slowly and sound very natural, confident, and clear. Fluency means that you can communicate your ideas with a good flow. It does not mean that every sentence has to be fast. Think about a good speaker in your own language. Do they always speak very quickly? Probably not. Sometimes they slow down. Sometimes they pause. Sometimes they make an important word stronger. Sometimes they stop for a moment before continuing. Good communication has movement. It has rhythm. It is not one long race. English is the same. You do not need to race through your sentences. You need to help the listener follow your meaning. Let's imagine two learners. The first learner speaks very quickly. Their words come out fast. But some sounds disappear. Some words become unclear. There are almost no pauses. The listener has to work very hard. The second learner speaks a little more slowly. The words are clear. Important words are easy to hear. There are small pauses between ideas. The listener understands almost everything. Now, which learner do you think is communicating better? Well, I think the second learner. Even if the first learner sounds faster, the second learner is more successful. This is something I want you to remember today. Your listener should not have to fight to understand you. Your listener should not have to fight to understand you. Clear speech makes communication easier. And this is good for both people. You feel more relaxed. The listener feels more relaxed. The conversation becomes easier. Now, this does not mean that you should speak very slowly forever. Of course, your natural speed may increase as your English improves. But speed should grow naturally. You should not force it. When your brain becomes faster at finding words, your speech becomes faster. When common grammar becomes easier, your speech becomes faster. When you use the same expressions many times, they become easier to say. Your speed can improve as a result of practice. You do not need to make speed the main goal. This is a very different way of thinking. Instead of asking, "How can I speak faster?" ask, "How can I make my message easier to understand?" That question can change the way you practice English. The first thing you can do is slow down enough to control your words. Many learners know a word, but when they speak too quickly, they do not pronounce it clearly. They may leave out sounds. They may mix two words together in a way that makes the sentence difficult to understand. Or they may begin the next word before finishing the first one. A small reduction in speed can help. You do not need to speak like a robot. You simply need enough time to produce the words clearly. This is especially useful when you are talking about something difficult. Maybe you are explaining a problem. Maybe you are giving important information. Maybe you are talking to somebody who is not used to your accent. In these situations, clarity matters much more than speed. Another important part of clear speech is pronunciation. But pronunciation does not mean having a perfect accent. This is important. You do not need to sound exactly like somebody from London, New York, Toronto, or Sydney. You can keep your own accent. The important question is simple. Can people understand your words? Good pronunciation means making the important sounds clear enough for communication. Some sounds may be difficult for you. That is normal. Different languages use different sounds. Your mouth may need time to learn new movements. So work on pronunciation slowly. Listen carefully. Repeat. Compare. Try again. You are training your ears and your mouth together. Do not only repeat a sentence as fast as you can. First, understand a sentence. Then, listen to how it sounds. Notice where the voice goes up and down. Notice which words sound stronger. Notice where the speaker pauses, then repeated clearly. Speed can come later. Now, there is another reason clear speech is important. When you slow down a little, You give your brain more time to think. This can reduce mistakes. Imagine that you are telling somebody about your weekend. You know what you want to say, but you try to say everything very quickly. Your brain is searching for vocabulary. It is thinking about grammar. It is thinking about pronunciation. And at the same time, you are trying to speak very fast. That is a lot of work. You may suddenly stop. You may lose your sentence. You may use the wrong words. Or you may feel that your mind has gone blank. Sometimes the problem is not your English level. The problem is the speed you are asking your brain to work at. So give yourself a little more time. A short pause is okay. Actually, pauses are a normal part of speaking. Native speakers pause too. They need time to think. They sometimes say, well, so, let me think. Or, actually. They do not always produce perfect sentences immediately. Real conversation is not a prepared speech. People think while they speak. You are allowed to do the same. This can be difficult for learners because silence can feel uncomfortable. You stop for 1 second and think, oh no, my English is terrible. But 1 second is not a disaster. Your listener is probably not thinking about it. To you, the pause feels very long. To the other person, it may feel completely normal. So become comfortable with small pauses. A pause can actually make you sound more controlled. It gives your sentence shape. It helps the listener understand where one idea ends and another begins. Think about reading a paragraph with no spaces between the words. It would be difficult to understand. Speech also needs space. Not between every word, of course, but between ideas. And this is where rhythm becomes important. Clear English is not about saying every word with the same strength. Some words are more important. These words carry the main meaning. So you can make important words a little stronger. You can give them more time. So next time you speak English, try something different. Forget about speed for a moment. Choose clarity. Speak at a comfortable pace. Open your mouth enough to make the sounds clear. Give important words more energy. Use small pauses. Keep your sentences simple when necessary. And listen to the person you are talking to. If they understand you easily, you are doing something right. Over time, your speech will become smoother. Common sentences will become easier. You will find words faster and you will need fewer pauses. Thank you so much for listening to another episode of English Unleashed. I'm Tom, and until next time, keep learning, keep speaking, and keep believing in yourself. Bye for now.